Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, Retro Life for You, movies of the 1980s and the 1990s. This week, we are joined by Marty Phillips,
That's right.
and Travis is not here because it's holiday time and he's a diva and he says he needs extra holiday
he,
time.
he needs his holiday sleep.
He holiday sleeve, get his nails did, his hair did, and
Uh, oh
uh
well, it's more like get his beard done.
yeah, and
He don't
uh,
have no hair like us fellas here.
we just messed with him. He is not here with us this week though. So, but this week Marty and I are going to do Short Circuit from 1986. Short Circuit, in case anybody does not remember, or maybe you just didn't see it, is a sci-fi comedy that perfectly captures the charm, optimism, and eccentricity of 1980 cinema. When a military robot known as Number Five is struck by lightning, it unexpectedly gains self awareness and escapes into the real world. As it begins to learn about life and humanity, pop culture, it forms a bond with animal loving Stephanie Speck and clashes with the military forces determined to shut it down. Blending slapstick comedy, heartfelt moments, and Cold War era type paranoia, Short Circuit asks a surprisingly deep question for an 80s family film. What does it truly mean to be alive? With some very quotable lines. We've already done this before the show started. We could we could not resist throwing things out early already. Quotable lines, iconic robot design, and a breakout character in Johnny Five. The movie became a cable TV staple and cult favorite. So, Marty, Johnny
Mhm.
Five is alive.
There's a lot of it. That's right.
Uh,
And you mentioned that whole Cold War aspect of the movie.
yeah,
The whole scene, like where the military already gets through watching, the robots do their thing in the field, and then they're back at Nova, and literally one of the generals is basically saying that the best thing to do, Senator, is that we can put a tactical nuke on the back of one of these things, parachute it over into Russia, and then blow Russia up, and it's Operation Got You Last. So
right.
I
That
was like, dude, that's messed up.
is definitely from that, not from today's time frame. I would say.
Right.
Um, could you imagine him doing that now, though? Putting that out there now.
That's
Back in that time, the major enemy they'd put in all the movies, like it was always Russia,
the
right?
Russia, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
nowadays it would be what, South Korea or something, or
that'd
North
be
Korea.
North Korea or
Yeah,
um, China maybe. Like
yeah, yeah,
when they redid Red Dawn, they brought in it
yeah.
wasn't
It was
Russia.
the Korean. The was it the when they redid Red Dawn, I could have swore it was like North Korea and somebody had joined together to
I believe
invade
it was
America.
I believe it was something like that.
Yeah.
It's I don't
Ah,
remember as much about it as the original because the original was much better.
exactly. I love the original. I didn't like the remake.
Yeah,
So
the remake was still good. It just wasn't what the original was to all of us.
yeah.
So, but Johnny Five, when did you see this at the theater or was it a movie rental for
It
you?
was definitely a rental, and I want to say it wasn't even in '86 when I watched it. It was more '87.
I,
So
I think the same was for me, but it wasn't a rental. I think my uncle had recorded it off HBO Showtime, and I had watched it on a VHS tape from him. Um, but yeah, it wasn't at the theater for me either.
yeah, yeah, I can definitely say it wasn't at the theater because it was probably my local mom and pop video store that I like to go to, and we rented it kind of grabbed my attention when I was walking by the box, and then I see like, whoa, what's this? And it says Short Circuit, and it's got like this picture, this outline picture of a robot standing on a hill with a lightning bolt striking it. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. Let me read the back of this. And then I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty good. I'm going to grab this. So,
Oh, and it, we didn't look back. We watched it many times since then.
exactly.
Some quick pre-production notes we'll jump into on the movie. Developed during a wave of technology-focused 80s films, such as War Games, Back to the Future, and Daryl. Of course, we've done, I think, I don't know if we've done Back to the Future on this podcast or not, to be honest.
I don't think so. I know War Games.
War
I
Games and
think
Daryl,
War
we
Games
definitely,
and Daryl, yeah.
yeah, we definitely, I know for a fact we did War Games and Daryl.
Yeah.
Daryl has not been, it's probably less than a year ago, and that was Sholem from the Three Cousins podcast came on, and we discussed Daryl. And War Games was definitely Travis and I a good while back because I really liked War Games.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I remember Travis giving me a little bit of a hard time because I liked War Games so much. I was talking it up pretty big.
And speaking of War Games, one person from Short Circuit, Ali Sheedy. I mean, she's in War Games and she's in Short Circuit. So
yeah, right. And we have another tie into War Games as well, directed by John Badham. I guess that's how you say his name, Badham. It's either Badham or like Peanut says with Jeff Dunham. This could be John Badham. But John Badham, I believe, who had just come off major hits like Saturday Night Fever and War Games.
War Games, yeah.
Something interesting about the robot design for number 5 was inspired by real military hardware and required multiple puppeteers and operators to make it work.
I can believe that because like the scenes when just when it was like moving, on the tracks and everything, and when they were all moving together, I didn't know if that was more like somebody was controlling it with a remote control, or if it, like you said, I mean, the puppeteers was probably the stuff that was like up close, like to make his head move and make his arm move and stuff like that. So
could be. It didn't really specify, but it could be though. The robot. Let's see. Nope, I just read that. Filmed primarily. Now, this was a fun fact for me. Filmed primarily in Oregon, giving the movie its distinctive Pacific Northwest look. Now, this was filmed in Astoria, Oregon. Does that ring a bell with you for other movies?
But then we just do Trapped in Paradise. Wasn't that in?
I don't know if that was in Astoria, Oregon, or not.
Oh no, that was in Canada that they did Trapped in Paradise. But Astoria, ain't that like a couple of John Hughes movies?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna say John Hughes movies or not, but there should be 2 movies that come to mind with you right off the bat when you hear Astoria. One for sure. I can't believe you even come out with the first one right away.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to go ahead and tell you?
Yeah. I gotta know.
Goonies. The Goonies.
Oh yeah.
Dude, come on.
The Goonies, Astoria.
So Free Willy was one movie. The Goonies and Kindergarten Cop. They were all filmed there as well.
Okay. Yeah, because I could see that. Just because of like in Kindergarten Cop, like the whole stormy looking background, and even the Goonies where it was always cloudy and stuff. So yeah, I mean, in Short Circuit, there was never hardly any sunlight. I mean, except for like the one part where Ali Sheedy and Johnny Five are standing on the back of her deck, and then she's pointing at the sun. And then he goes, light bulb.
Input.
Yeah,
Input.
Dude, when he flips through that daggone dictionary like it wasn't nothing, and he throws it over his shoulder, and he's all like, input, Stephanie, input.
She gives him the whole Encyclopedia
Yeah,
Britannica, it looks like she
yeah,
goes through. Sees all the TV infomercials there was to see.
yeah, exactly. But
Crazy.
I mean, but when she first sees him, he's in her like a food truck, and she thinks he's a daggum alien from space, and she's all like, welcome to Earth, and then she's all like, is that? And she's like, I just gotta ask, is that your real body? Or are you just a brain in a jar inside the? And he's all like, and then that's when he leans forward and he's like, input, and
Hmm.
and then she's like, input, and he's like, input, need input.
I thought for the first time I seen this, I thought he was just like input was the only word he could say.
Exactly, yeah. But probably at first that's all he could say, except for like when he read that billboard that was outside the gas station. It was like, wouldn't he like to be a pepper too? That
Yeah.
was a Dr. Pepper billboard. So,
So back at the office where Steve Gutenberg and his character and the character of Ben are both looking at the screen, is like, wouldn't you want to be a pepper too? And they're like, what is he getting
what is,
at? What is
what
he
is
saying that
that?
for?
Yeah, what is that?
He must be taking something in as he's talking
Yeah,
to us. He's looking at something.
yeah.
Let's see. Originally, this movie was conceived as a darker sci-fi story. Can you imagine this though?
I
Um,
can actually,
bef-
because
bef-
the thing is, coming off of like, Terminator and others, crazy robot movies
Chopping
back in the
Mall,
early '80s. I mean,
Chopping Mall.
yeah, Chopping Mall.
The robots were loose in the
That's
mall,
a reminder right there,
right?
because in Chopping Mall they rolled around on tracks.
Yeah, I
So
wonder. I wonder if they didn't make this a darker one because of Chopping Mall. When did
uh,
Chopping Mall come out? Do you remember?
I know it was early '80s, like maybe
Because this
'82.
because this was '86. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, originally conceived as a darker sci-fi story before being reshaped into a family-friendly comedy. I could definitely see this as a darker sci-fi thing, and
exactly. Because
you know, with
if he goes crazy and he goes rolling out and like rolls out into past the laboratory and everything, and then sees people and he sees them as a threat.
yeah,
He's already frying them and stuff. So,
or this could be something like Universal Soldier. You have all these robots get, they break loose or something, and lightning strikes him, right? And he's actually becoming self-aware, but the others are going on their directives, right?
yeah,
And he's kind of like the good guy robot at this point, trying to stop the rest of them from doing what they're
I don't
doing.
know. That would have been really cool.
Yeah,
So
that definitely could have worked out, I believe.
there was a there was a movie that they did about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I want to say it came out in like 2019 or something like that, but it was something Man of War or Wrath of something. It was literally like a movie where they parachuted these robots over into like Guatemala or something.
Yeah.
And so they're literally like these robots are walking around and they're going to take this insurgents out of the picture, out of this village. And so they literally go into the village, and then while the machines are walking into the village, there literally are like these people that are like monitoring everything that's going on. They're in front of computers and they're seeing through their eyes. And these robots, they go in, they take care of business. And then literally like one of the villagers like walks up to like one of the robots and was kind of like, almost like, saying its praises. And then and then literally like touches it, and as soon as it touches the robot felt like it was being threatened. So it literally jumps back, raises its rifle, and then just starts mowing all the villagers down. So I can't remember the name of this movie for nothing,
It doesn't
but
sound familiar. I'm not
man,
sure.
it was so good. Yeah.
Man, where do you think, if you had to put it, where does it fit amongst the movie War Games and Daryl and Back to the Future? Back to the Future because of the DeLorean being a time machine and everything, and I
Yeah.
mean, of course, War Games, the supercomputer. Daryl was kind of like a supercomputer in a sense. Matter of fact, let's leave Back to the Future out of it. Let's just put in Short Circuit, Daryl, and War Games. Um, how would you rate those three amongst each other? Like, how does it fit in well with those?
Well, I mean, for war games, it wasn't like anything that rolled around. It didn't move from the building. The Whopper just sat in the building
But it
and
was
was
a robot that
basically
learned, though. I mean, it
it
kept
did, yeah,
learning and learning
it
and
did
learning.
learn. Yeah, you're right about that. But being that Daryl was more human than machine, that Daryl had just a robotic brain. So, and short circuit, that was all robotics, but it became aware of its surroundings. It became aware, basically.
See, I was thinking the same thing about this earlier, and I was like, when it comes to Daryl and Short Circuit don't have a lot of differences. I mean, when you stop and think about it, other than the fact that Daryl is a little boy who is going to continue growing, but he has that chip in his brain to be like a computer for a brain, basically.
Yeah,
And he
that,
will always learn and adjust to things, and he'll be smart, super smart, and all this
mhm.
good stuff. I mean, he has things uploaded to him, different things of that nature. And then you got Johnny Five in Short Circuit. He's aware, he's adapting, he's learning. The difference is he is a robot, like a real full
Yeah, he's
on
an
robot,
actual, full on robot.
actual
Yeah,
robot. And then War Games, like I said, War Games is just this supercomputer,
yeah,
and
just,
it's
just
it's
the
it's
Whopper,
learning.
the
Yeah,
the Burger King.
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Know what you mean. It's constantly learning all the time too. And they gave it a name, Joshua.
Yeah,
So
Joshua.
Johnny
Yeah.
Five, Daryl, Joshua, but they've all got like you've got the human names to them, Johnny, Joshua, Daryl. They're always learning. They got the definite robotic brains, self-aware, a lot in common, but a lot different as well.
hmm
Definitely three
And
separate stories, three different movies. You can't really put one in, you can't really mix one to the other and say you can make it work, I don't think, but they work well as standalone movies.
mhm. and one of my favorite lines from Short Circuit was when Stephen Gutenberg's character he's basically talking to Johnny, and he says he was like, "Why didn't you follow your programming?" And and then Johnny says, "It's wrong to kill," and he's like, "You don't know that, and you're human, and you don't know that it's wrong to kill." So yeah, that literally right there, that whole line meant that he wasn't no longer a machine. He actually had a soul. So in my opinion. So
Yeah. Makes you feel that way about it for sure.
yeah.
No doubt. Um, Kind of jump over here into the cast for a little bit. Ali Sheedy played the role of Stephanie Speck. We mentioned her earlier. Known for The Breakfast Club, War Games, Saying Almost Fire, quite a few other things in that time. She's one of the defining faces of the Brat Pack era. Everybody's familiar with the Brat Pack, I assume, but to toss
Yeah.
out a few more names if you're not,
Emilio
um,
Estevez.
Emilio, Emilio.
Mhm.
What you got? Judd Nelson,
Andrew McCartney,
Molly Ringwald,
Molly Ringwald.
Anthony Michael Hall,
Yeah. Which
Um,
speaking of Anthony Michael Hall, coming in February to Nashville. Again,
right. For
look forward to.
any of you listening, if you're in the Nashville area where we are going to be at that podcast. Oh my God, at that Comic Con. So if you see us, come up and say something to us for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Anthony Michael Hall should be fun. I'm going to go broke at that. I'm sure.
Exactly. I am too.
I
Because there's a lot of people that I want to get signed
I get a
signatures.
yearly bonus right about the time that this comes in, and as the bonus comes into me, it's going back out to others.
Yep, exactly.
So I am taking my Lord of the Rings Return of the King, and I'm gonna have it signed by John Rhys Davies and
Elijah Woods.
Elijah Wood.
Yep.
That's a definite. That's happening. Um, we're off on a tangent here for a second, but I can't help it. We always do this. Wrestling fans, if you're a wrestling fan, they've got Trisha. They got Trish Stratus. They got Lita. They're gonna have uh Karrion Cross with Scarlett Bordeaux, Saraya, who played Paige in WWE. And they say they got one more wrestling person they're trying to close in on, but they haven't yet, so I don't know if they will or not. Uh,
What
Ralph,
surprised me was Ralph Macchio.
yeah, I was about to bring that
He
up.
was the one down there at the bottom.
Ralph
Yeah,
Macchio is
I'm
coming in. Now, with Ralph Macchio coming in, you very well may see William Zabka come back again because last year when he came, he was late the first day by about 3 or 4 hours. So half of his first day was kind of shot and gone, and it cut some of the people out from being able to see him. So he might try to make that up and come back. I don't know. No,
man, if he does, I'm definitely going broke.
no
Because
one
I want
has.
his signature, I want Ralph Macchio. So,
Well, no one's really said anything about him being there, possibly, or announced anything, or even hinted toward it. It's just me thinking. I mean, maybe
yeah,
it could
but we
happen,
got all of January before February even gets here. So
right?
they
And
can,
then they're still announcing names. I mean, you still got actual comic people. Imagine that at a Comic Con, people who do comics and drawing and everything going to be there. Who thought it?
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun. Um, I will be, as I said, going broke, and I'll
Bro.
be telling you all about. I'll be telling you all about it when I come back from it.
Mm,
Both of us will, I'm sure.
yeah. And maybe, just maybe, we might throw my phone up and then just kind of walk around and do a little live something. So
Yeah, well, it's a good possibility of getting some live going on from there.
yeah,
Absolutely. Uh, we'll talk more about it later.
okay.
Back to Ali She for a little bit. It says her character itself it brought some warmth and sincerity to a role that grounded the film emotionally. Her and Johnny Five make this connection with each other, even though
Mhm.
he's a robot and she's not.
At one point, I thought it was going to turn into Howard the Duck there for a
Uh,
second.
Bow chicka bow wow.
I did. I was like, I was sitting there when I first watched it. At the one
He
scene, I was
needs
just like,
input.
yeah. I was like, okay, it's about to get weird.
Well, he rolls into the bathroom when she's in the bathtub in a bubble bath. He goes, Stephanie changed colors because she don't have clothes on anymore.
Yeah,
And he's like, she's like, oh no, and she starts to cover
yeah.
herself
She
up a little more.
grabs the towel and
And he's like, nice software.
Mm, like you said, that this movie had like all kinds of little quotable lines and stuff that really sticks with you. So
Yes, it's a very quotable movie by all means. Definitely very quotable. Uh, Steve Guttenberg, your co-star in there, played Newton Crosby. We know Steve Guttenberg as Mahoney from Police
uh-huh.
Academy. He was also in Three Men and a Baby, Three Men and a Little Lady. He was in Cocoon. Um,
Yeah, well, 1 and 2. So
1 and 2. He's in quite a few other things. He's had a lot of work over the years, but nothing really stood out like his work in the '80s did.
yeah,
That
I don't know. His career just took when he got to the '90s, it just took a dive. Like
I
it,
don't want to say that it took a dive necessarily. I think it went in the direction that he wanted to take it. I don't think that he wanted to stay, in the limelight, but he wanted to keep working. He did things that he found more meaningful to do, basically.
Man.
Because a lot of those movies that are out during that time frame after that, it was not a lot of, you know, funny, funny the funny ha stuff they stood with
Or
was
like a
Mhm.
family oriented movies. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, Police Academy 2, Police Academy 3. Did he come back for 6?
no, I think Police Academy 3 was like his actual last Police Academy movie.
Okay. Because
And
when it
then I want to
was
say 4, 5, and 6 was supposed to be like Commandant Lassard's nephew or something like that.
well, the 1 in 5 was his nephew. He
Okay,
didn't I don't think he came back with them after that point there.
yeah,
So, but anyway, yeah, definitely my favorite Steve Guttenberg work is Mahoney in the Police Academy movies.
uh-huh,
That's my favorite of what he's done. He was at his peak in his 80s box office run. Like I said, that's where he kind of peaked at, was right there. And everything else was just smaller roles, more
right,
meaningful roles to him, or just some
right.
things to get some work.
Or just a paycheck, or just a paycheck.
Like I said, just to get some work in, to
Yeah.
keep things flowing for him.
Mhm.
A lot of people, I think it was, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've had him on. The guy that played in Young Guns, Jeffrey Blake, I believe it is. Jeffrey Blake said that you've got a lot of these people out there are, your working man actors, and they're out there taking a lot of the roles that a lot of other people won't take because they stay busy, they stay paid, they stay
Yeah.
relevant,
Uh-huh.
and look at over the years, look at Gene Hackman. I mean, look at Samuel L. Jackson.
Or
Neither
or
one.
or better yet, look at Nicolas Cage. That dude puts movies out left and right. He puts 5 movies out in a year. In a
None of them.
year.
I don't think any of them seen a movie they didn't like that they would say they didn't say yes to. So
Exactly.
it's all good. Um, and of course, he played the character. His was a kind of a classic, nervous but lovable kind of scientist in a way. Shy around the girls, don't know what to say and everything, but
Mhm.
crazy.
Or better yet, when Benjamin catches him in the office, when Howard tells Benjamin, go grab him because he's supposed to be hobnobbing with the brass and everything. And Ben goes in there and he's all like, come on, Newton, you need to put your tie on." And then he's like, you need to get out there and talk to the people. And then that's when Steve Gutenberg, he types in that stuff on the computer, and he throws up the hand with the robotic hand with the middle finger, and then he's like, and then Benjamin's like, is that the number of your IQ?
Right. Always trying to cut down on him.
Mm,
And let's go to him, to Benjamin. Ben Jabatuya was the character name, played by Fisher Stevens. Fisher Stevens was later known for movies like Hackers, Succession, and some award-winning documentaries. He provided much of the film's comedy and quotable moments. As we
mm,
said, very quotable movie. He's probably three-fourths of the quotes in there that people would say.
yeah,
Um, I
because
I loved
because
him in Hackers.
he was learning to speak English, and then he would mess stuff up.
Right.
He'd have either stuff backwards, or or just the way he just said it was really funny. So
Right, absolutely. G.W. Bailey played Captain Scroder. What a name, Scroder.
yeah,
Um,
Schroeder,
we know G.W. Bailey from Police Academy as well.
yeah,
He
Lieutenant
was
Harris,
Lieutenant
Lieutenant
Harris.
Harris.
Yes, Lieutenant Harris. He always with that megaphone in his hand.
the The one thing that always sticks with me from Police Academy is where they're stuck in traffic, and he's all like he's all like what? He sticks his head out the window. He's like, "What's going on up there?" And he pulls his head back in, and he hops out of the car, and he tells old boy, "I'm commandeering your motorcycle. Get off. Move it, move it, move it, move it."
Move it, move it, move it.
And he hops on the bike, and he gives a little gas, and then it just rears up on him, and he's going down through there, and he can barely control the damn thing. And then what was it? There was a car that was right there in the way, and the motorcycle hits, and he goes flying through the air and lands somewhere that he shouldn't have. So,
Every time I see Harris, I don't think Harris ever got. Well, he may have. I know it was his two little cronies he sent in the first Police Academy, but they end up in the Blue Oyster Bar. Every time I see him or someone around him, I always think that. Oh, I had someone. I did that once before to somebody. I was like, they're like,
what is that
wow.
from?
They're like, what is that song? I know that song. I said, I bet you know that song. No, seriously, I know that song. I've heard it before. I'm sure you've heard that song before. I said, were you slow dancing to it? Is that what it was? He's like, I don't know. I guess it's always possible. I said, yeah, it's possible. That's it. Now I'd love to know what it was. They'd be like, oh man, you're wrong for that. He was also in Mannequin too. He played the mall cop kind of guy in Mannequin.
Yeah. Which was a good family oriented type movie. So
the last thing I seen of G.W. Bailey, I think he was in East New York, the TV series. I think he was in.
the last thing that I remember watching him in was in the seasons of The Closer. He was like one of the cops that was with her crew. So
I don't think I ever watched Closer.
yeah, it was actually The Closer was a decent show. So
Yeah,
and I think he was on every season all the way until the show ended. So
moving on past the cast. Well, actually, let's not go past the cast just yet. Austin Pendleton played Howard Marner. I got to bring him up because he was kind of a big part of it,
yeah, exactly. Howard.
Yeah. What else do you remember Howard Marner for? Austin Pendleton from? He's got that face, right?
He does have that face.
You know him from somewhere. There's always someone like in every movie that we watch.
I think I just remembered. I saw it. It was on the other night, and I was watching part of it. He was the chauffeur in Guarding Tess. Well, Nicolas Cage and what is her name? Man, she was in Still Magnolias, and she played Weezer.
Yeah, so, I know who you're talking about. I'm drawing a blank on her name though.
I am too. So.
Yeah, I'm still. I was still thinking maybe I had it for a second there, but I don't. Who am I kidding? What I remembered him from when I was thinking about this, what stood out to me was My Cousin Vinny. He was the lawyer that stuttered.
Oh, he was the stuttering lawyer, the guy that was like,
Your Honor, And in the background, the guy he's representing is just looking like this, like
he's like, oh my God, I don't want this guy representing me.
He's never going to get my defense out there. But yeah, he fun guy. He does a lot of fun roles in movies. Yeah. And I believe that might have been the only other one I wanted to touch on. Everybody
else was kind of background noise. So
yeah, more or less. definitely so. Um, the box office. I'm sorry, I'll get the words out in just a second. Gosh, I'm struggling tonight. Box office performance budget approximately 15 million. Domestic box office made around $40 million. It's considered
Oh
a
wow.
solid hit, especially when factoring in home video and cable TV popularity. And success led directly to a sequel, Short Circuit 2, in 1988, which, if you saw, you probably regretted every minute of it.
Well, I didn't regret every minute of Short Circuit 2. I mean, I didn't like it as much as the original.
Yeah,
The but man, the towards the end of the movie where where they're basically almost destroying Johnny Five,
yeah,
and then literally like he's barely rolling towards like he's going to the back of this alley, and the one guy that was with Benjamin, he finds him, and then that's when he picks up that piece of that concrete, and he writes out dying, find Ben, and he tells him, I can't. Ben's been arrested, and then that's when he writes on there, you fix, and he's all like, me fix? I wouldn't know where to start, and that's when they both turn around, and there's a Radio Shack like right behind them,
right,
and yeah, and literally they break into the Radio Shack. He's repairing himself and everything, and then you know the one guy, he tells Johnny, after Johnny gets his voice back and everything, he says that they locked us up in a freezer, and then Johnny's all like, oh, they just locked you up. Yeah, he's all like, yeah. He's all like, lock up the humans, but kill the machine. Yeah, and then he's like, and then that's when he puts on this weird looking mohawk thing, and like one of his eyes is already busted out, so he puts on like this like some kind of plastic cover and has like a little chain coming off of it, and then like that whole build up, like from that scene up to where he confronts the guys again, and then he confronts the other guy. The part that stuck with me the most is that when after he takes care of the other two, and then he's going after the guy that jumps the boat. The background music was I Need a Hero. If you
yeah.
remember, if you remember that, and literally, like the whole scene was just like a big action montage.
And
So
speaking of music, do you remember where he got his name from?
yeah, when he's listening to the radio, who's Johnny? Yeah,
Yeah, El DeBarge.
yeah,
Yep, sure enough. That was kind of a big song that year too when it came out.
yeah. And if I remember the video actually had Johnny Five partially in the music video.
Right.
So because they were in some courtroom or something. So
Exactly. They were.
yeah.
Um, some of the trivia and behind the scenes facts: Johnny Five required up to 5 operators at once for movement, facial expressions, and camera controls. We briefly touched on that earlier about how many puppeteers it took. The robot's eyes were actually modified camera lenses. I could see that.
Yeah, I
Um,
can too.
the famous line "Johnny Five is alive" was never intended to become the movie's catchphrase, but the audiences latched onto it immediately, and they kind of made it a thing.
Yeah. Well, and it also came across the computer screen too when he's running from the guys from Nova, and like uh, they're about to go splattering off the end of like the pier right there, and then so he hits the brakes, and then he's all like, he's turning around and he's grabbing her and he's all like, flee, leave, gotta go, leave, leave.
Right.
And then she's like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, I don't want to be disassembled. And
No disassemble. No
yeah, no
disassemble.
disassemble, Stephanie.
Um, Speaking of her, I don't know if this is called method acting or not. I don't, if she's even a method actor herself, I don't know. I know that Rebecca Tickell said that Sam Elliott acted the same the entire time on the set around her, as he did in the movie, and she thought that he didn't like her at first. You know, that she had made him mad somehow until he explained to her that it's called method acting and everything. But Ali Sheedy reportedly treated the robot like a real co-star, helping sell the emotional connection to it.
I can see
Apparently.
that because it felt very real when she was actually talking to Johnny. So instead of her just talking to a machine, it felt like she was actually talking to a person. So
Right, right. And then director John Badham emphasized that number five, the way he should have come across to you was feeling curious and childlike, not mechanical. And childlike is actually a pretty good term because everything he does is kind of like, so innocent acting and everything, like
uh-huh.
needing the input, turning around and knocking this off by accident, or
Yeah.
going to yank
The spaghetti sauce. Yeah,
yeah,
the pasta. Yeah.
right, all that stuff. I mean, so I can see all that definitely being a thing. Um, the house used as Stephanie's house actually still exists at the time of when this was put in here in IMDb in November of 2019. The house sold for $340,000.
Wow.
I'm not going to tell everybody where the house is located at. I'm not giving that kind of information out, but you can find it on IMDb if you really want to know.
Hmm.
So wouldn't be a very cool thing for people to start knocking on someone's door. The
Exactly. Exactly.
we didn't quite get to this earlier. I want to get to this real quick, and then I'll pop back to this special fun fact. Um, Looks like I skipped right over it somehow.
Mm.
Uh,
You're about to say the Saturday Night Fever montage.
no, 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 no. I didn't. I didn't mention box office earlier, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Did I mention
You
box
said,
office? Did I skip
yeah,
over it so fast that I don't even remember it?
you said it cost 15 million to make, and
Okay,
it
I did.
grossed worldwide 40 million after
I did.
theater, VHS, and going
It
to
just didn't.
HBO.
It just didn't feel like I said anything about it.
Yeah,
1.4 million dollars of the movie's 15 million budget was spent on the creation of number five.
I can see that
Number
because
five weighed 250 pounds, and uh 250 pounds. I weigh more than a robot. That's not cool. Uh,
the thing is, the probably all the weight was probably in like the tracks itself, like the how it moved, and then everything else was probably just hollowed out, except for like maybe certain parts in his arm,
yeah,
and so and then basically the part where Newton goes up and turns him off, that could have just been like that could have not even been the machine itself. It could have not been Johnny Five. It could have just been like just a round cylinder that just pops open. I
right.
mean, yeah.
And another fun fact about the movie, according to Fisher Stevens, the character Ben was originally intended to be a Caucasian. Um, the role was then rewritten to be more of a comedic ethnic part after Bronson Pinchot was in talks to play Ben. When the deal with Bronson fell through, Fisher was asked if he could make his accent more ethnic to make Ben's scripted lines funnier. Says he spent 5 weeks living inside of India to prepare for the role.
Wow.
His performance convinced many viewers that he was Indian, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
Father stated that he would never be able to play that role today. I'm sorry, Fisher stated he'd never be able to play that role today if he tried.
Mhm.
Because today's day and age, everybody's got hurt booties and everything else, so
Yeah, exactly.
kind of makes it hard for you to do something like that. Um,
Mhm.
let's see, we're running up close on time, so let's get to the rest of the stuff here. I got on the first page here. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
Short, a couple of quick discussion questions for you. Number one, could a movie like Short Circuit be made today, or would it be completely different? In other words, Marty, if you made this movie today yourself, would you make it the same type of movie and just reboot it in your vision, or would you turn it around and make it what they wanted to make it originally?
Like a dark, more
Yeah,
darker.
like a darker sci-fi film.
To tell you the truth, I myself, I would use today's technology. You know, uh, give it that CGI look. You know, in spots, give it that CGI look. But I would still want that heartfelt family movie that I got from back then. Because to me, that's what made Short Circuit a good movie. Is that it was a heartfelt family movie. I mean, of course, I mean there was some words said in the movie, but they weren't like really bad cuss words or anything like that. But
Right, right. How does this movie reflect 1980s fears and hopes about technology?
okay, now say that again. You said
How does this movie reflect the fear from the 1980s that people had about computers and technology?
um, that it could actually come to life basically if it wasn't if it hadn't have become like sentient and didn't want to harm humans, what if it decided to instead harm humans and then melt down a whole school bus full of nuns?
Nun soup.
Nun soup.
Nun soup. Where where does Johnny Five rank among? You got me laughing. I can't say it right. Where does Johnny Five rank among iconic movie robots like R2D2, Wally, Terminator? You can even throw Daryl in if you want to, since it's a computer brain. I mean,
No.
but
Uh,
where does he rank in your opinion? It's
uh,
almost not fair to put R2D2 and C3PO in there. It's
yeah,
almost not fair to do that.
it's
So
not.
let's leave them out.
Uh, how how Johnny Five ranks against like Terminator or even
You got
like
Wally,
Wally. I mean, what?
Terminator.
Yeah, Wally was more. I mean, Wally was more family friendly too. So I would say to compare Wally and Johnny Five almost as a whole, almost because if you really look at Wally and you look at Johnny, it's like taller design, shorter design. So, I mean, it's like
Right.
because they both have like the optic eyes, and yeah, and they both had arms, and they both rolled around on tracks. So Terminator versus Johnny Five. Yeah, I would actually put my money on Johnny Five. The only reason why is because he's got that badass laser that's up on his shoulder, and the only thing he'd have to do is just sever the Terminator's head, sever his arms off, sever his legs off. The only thing he'd just be is just like a mountain of metal
Yeah.
with a torso. So, I
trying
mean,
to
yeah,
think. I was trying to think of what it was that had that laser on the shoulder too. It wasn't a robot. That was Predator.
yeah.
I was thinking that. Um, I had something else. In the movie, I always thought this was things like this are kind of funny when they leave things like these in movies. You wonder sometimes if it was really an accident, a blooper, and it was so good that they left it in or something, but you never can tell. In the scene in which Frank is chasing Johnny, which is I think her ex boyfriend,
It is.
Johnny Brian McNamara, who's the character, slipping over the porch was a genuine mistake. If you look closely, you can see Ali Sheedy is struggling not to laugh in the scene.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw that.
So I
But
would,
what's crazy is when he gets outside and when he slips, and then you see her, and then he gets back up, and then they're going around to the front of the back of the porch, and then she's all like, "Forget about it, Frank. He's long gone. He moves faster than your red Dorkmobile," and literally he turns around and looks at her, and then they get around there, and he's already taking that Firebird apart piece by piece. It's like doors, seats, like the
yes,
pieces of the car sitting all over the place. Tires are all stacked nice and neat. And then the engine block literally is in pieces, sitting
yes, it's
all on the ground.
all over the place.
Yeah. And he literally flips up a manual on the Firebird in his hand. And he's like, piece of cake. And he
Right.
throws
Uh, it just I can't even no I can't describe it no better than you. It's everything neatly placed on the ground out there, all broke
man,
apart. It took no
man.
time to do it. Uh, G.W. Bailey mentioned the whole point of the writers naming his character Scroder, well, so that they could include a joke about scrotums,
Yeah. His
specifically for
kids.
that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. His
And
kids.
to touch on what you said earlier, go ahead and let you bring it up now. Stephanie and number 5 danced to a scene from Saturday Night Fever, which was also directed by
Exactly.
John Badham.
Yeah. Which
So
I know part of that had to have been CGI. Well, CGI back then, you know, because remember he's doing the John Travolta dance, and where John
right,
Travolta's like going up and down on his legs and everything,
yeah,
and you literally see Johnny in her living room like going up on his tracks, down on his tracks, up on his tracks, down
right.
on his tracks,
They
and
did a
then
good job
literally
of
like
making it look that way.
yeah, and then comes back down and does this crazy spin, and he's all like, "Woo!"
Right. It's crazy. Well, we are getting toward the end of the episode. Looks like Marty. We're 53 minutes in. I didn't think it'd go this fast. It's gone quick tonight.
Uh-huh.
But the good movies usually do. When we
Yeah,
like talk,
that's
we get to talk about
that's
the good
true.
movies. The show usually flies right on by.
Yeah,
Um, favorite scene? We always almost forget this, but
yeah.
favorite scene in the
Favorite
movie for you?
favorite scene is, to tell you the truth, I've probably got two favorite scenes. Um, the scene where Newton goes up to the restaurant, and then Ali Sheedy and him sit down, and she says, Johnny Five's far away from here. You'll not be able to find him. And so they're talking, and then it goes to Johnny outside, and he's literally like at the back of the restaurant, like in the woods. And so and basically he's out there, he's kind of doing his thing, and then all of a sudden you hear, you know number 5, the whole stay where you are, and and then basically it's like you see all of them. It's like 1, 2, and 3 are coming after 5, so they're and that one scene where he's like, he's like, oh, how did he word it? He said, he's looking, he finds an axe, he tosses that, and then he's all like, oh, rope, that's what I need. And he's like, escape robot, flees for his life, news at 11. And then, and then he starts to move, and then the whole shed gets lasered and blows up, and then so he takes care of one of the robots as the robot gets, the rope is there, and then it pulls him up, and then he turns him off, and he goes, "That's it for you, you wascally robot." and and then he the other one comes up out of the woods and then starts firing a laser at him. He literally picks up a rock and he's blocking the lasers.
Right.
And he's like temper. And as soon as he goes, oh, and he's like, ole, and he runs right into the outhouse. Yeah.
Do you remember he's got all three robots doing the Three Stooges by the time it's over with?
Yeah. And then that whole part was excellent in the movie. And the other part that I thought that was really good was actually when Newton and Johnny are on that hill and the sun's coming up. And Newton is literally like, he's half asleep and he's still trying to prove that you're just a machine. I'm human and you're just a machine.
Right.
And then so he's all like, oh, I got it. And he tells that corny joke.
Mm-hmm.
And literally Johnny just kind of sits back and he kind of does this number with his finger and he's like, oh, I get it. And he starts laughing. Yeah. And he starts laughing. And then that's when Newton realizes he's really alive. Yeah.
He's human at this point.
He's actually, emotions. I'm actually seeing emotions from a machine.
Is the scene where the other robots are chasing him? Is that where he yells at the one and says, "Hey, your mama was a snowblower"?
Yeah. He's all like, "Hey, laser lips. Yeah. Your mother was a snowblower."
Right. And after he tears apart the guy's car, he's flipping a quarter with his hand, going, he's quoting Scarface.
He's like, yeah, you're ratted us out, Frankie. He's flipping that.
Crazy stuff. I think my favorite part of it is when he's just taking all the input that he can with the books and the TV and the movies, and then next thing you know, he's trying to charm his way into staying with her.
Yeah.
He makes some funny remarks, and the whole Saturday Night Fever dance that they pull off with him and everything was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was some of my favorite scenes right there. The movie itself is funny all the way through, so it's hard to pick a funniest scene for me because there's so many different funny things in there. But I think that's where I'm going to say that my best part was going to be is when he was trying to charm his way into her house to stay.
Yeah, that way he could actually stay. So
yeah.
Instead of being disassembled.
No disassemble.
No disassemble.
But yeah, and just for future reference, I'm probably not going to do Short Circuit 2 anytime in the future, at least. And may change my mind later. But I've always heard. I watched it. What am I talking about? Short Circuit 2 is really nowhere near as good as Short Circuit.
Yeah. So, basically, the part that I talked about out of Short Circuit 2 was the good part out of Short Circuit 2. That was literally the 25 minutes of that whole segment of where Johnny gets hurt. Johnny repairs himself. Johnny takes out two of the bad guys. He goes after the last bad guy. grabs the bad guy. I mean, that was a whole good part out of the short circuit too. So
Well, there you go. Now you got 2 movie reviews in one. And it didn't take long to do the second one.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
all right, we'll wrapping things up here. We're at the hour mark. Everybody, if you like the show today, make sure you leave some comments and share with your friends and family and direct them toward the podcast itself so they might enjoy it as well. If you have any questions or comments that were suggestions maybe for us, you can email us at retrolife4u@gmail.com. We are located at the website retrolife, the number 4, the letter u.com, and you can stream the audio in your browser. And as long as I've remembered to add the video to the show notes, you can watch the show note. You can watch the video right there in the show notes. But I would suggest just going on over to YouTube and make it easier on yourself, where we got playlists and everything for our stuff there. So youtube.com/@retrolife4u. It'll take you to our little slice of heaven there on YouTube, and you can watch us and listen to us there. We are on Spotify and iTunes, pretty much anywhere you get your audio podcast at. You can hear us, you can find us there. So, follow us on there if you want to as well. And if you do follow us on YouTube, hit the little bell icon at the top so that when we do put the new stuff out, you get notified that a new episode is out, or maybe we put a new short video out or something along those lines. So, Marty, we are approaching the new year. Christmas is gone. We're approaching the new year. And in case you don't know this, when you are counting down to the new year on Christmas Eve and midnight is almost there, it's 11:59. You got 45 seconds, 46, 47, 48. Make sure you lift your left leg up in the air and you hold that pose until it hits midnight and it's officially the new year. Okay. Do you know why you do that?
Why?
Well, that way you start off the new year on the right foot.